Hey, how's it going, guys? ZDEyE here. So today I definitely wanted to talk about CD Projekt Red's Group of 2021 earnings call. Now, this is just very recently happened and I definitely did not want to skip on this conversation. So let's talk a little bit about it. Now, I've taken away a few key details and points that I definitely wanted to discuss. One of them is actually that the team is getting expanded, meaning that CD Projekt Red and a studio of it is getting expanded in terms of the size of the developers. So this was always a good news, but of course it means that there needs to be better management done, because obviously more the people there are, harder it is to manage individuals to be sure that they know what the hell they're even doing. So of course there's always pros and cons in that. The other key details are as well, a major Cyberpunk 2077 update will be coming as well, so that's very good news, of course. And they said that they're shifting the focus on that. They got studios that's working on the next gen updates towards the Cyberpunk 2077 and also The Witcher 3. Now, we already knew about The Witcher 3 and also the Cyberpunk, the next gen versions, such as that Cyberpunk 2077 next gen upgrade will be happening in Q1 of 2022, or should I say from 1st of January to the end of March. And regarding The Witcher 3 The Wild Hunt will be happening on Q2 of 2022. So that means 1st of April to the very end of June. So during that time between, we can expect to see these upgrades and updates. So that's very good news. Personally, I want to experience The Witcher 3 most of all. 60 FPS will be the best way to go about it. Now, they actually also shared this screenshot, and what kind of made me concerned a little bit because of the screenshot of The Witcher, that the features that will be including is the visual upgrades and all game expansions. All of the game's expansions, of course, we're talking about, into smaller details of smaller category, but also larger scale, right? Like the Blood and Wine as an example. So visual upgrades, that's what kind of concerns me. Wait, is it only going to be upgrading it to 4K or improvements towards that? What about the performance upgrade? Can we expect that too? Now, again, they may be just simply making it in a shorter verse, like visual, because we're looking at the game. So perhaps maybe performance is going to be included with that. So that's going to be good. The Cyberpunk's one, we didn't really get much info about that, what we should be expecting in terms of the improvements. The other key detail that I've taken away is that the Cyberpunk 2077 expansion is still in the development. We don't know when it's going to be finalized and released finally. We are expecting it to see that, CD Projekt Red, at least that they have promised. Again, they may break this promise, we don't know, that it will have at least 2 DLCs. I'm talking about major expansion DLCs, similar scope, perhaps if not bigger even. That's kind of a, it's a wait and see sort of thing at this point, right? Of the expansions that The Witcher 3 has received. Now, I'm sure a lot of you will say like, oh, that's complete bullshit, with how Cyberpunk came out. And a lot of you would have already lost all the credibility towards CD Projekt Red, and you're not expecting much out of it. But again, after a few years in a game that that released was complete garbage, it will be improved as long as it is actually receiving the updates. And look, like I've touched on already, they are indeed making updates towards Cyberpunk 2077 and making a better experience. On top of that, Steam, for some odd reason, now reviews Cyberpunk to be on a more positive light in terms of its review feedback. So that's kind of weird. What is happening there? But still, look, I'm not saying that what they've done was a completely shit thing. What they have done was completely shitty. They should have released Cyberpunk in 2022. And hell, even with the Jason Schreier's report, a whole lot of developers thought that Cyberpunk should have been coming out in 2022, but instead they pushed it all the way to 2020. And on top of that, they released it at the very fall of 2020 just to make sure that they get the biggest sales that they can. But instead, they should have, like I said, delayed it for a year, hell, even up to 2 years. But look, we're coming into the second year. Well, I shouldn't say that, but still, you know what I mean. We'll see how it'll turn out to be, and I'm holding my breath, and I'm hoping it's gonna be good. But again, I'm not expecting much because look, CD Projekt Red, they kind of lost my hope with their studio and everything that they have done. but still I'm looking forward to see what they got in store, you know what I mean? Okay, now the other key detail, it was regarding that CD Projekt Red has started early exploratory work on the new projects as well. Now, this is kind of, well, it's hard to explain. We don't know what they mean by this. Like one of them key details, could this be something related of a big project that they're planning to do next, like a AAA game, right? Perhaps maybe a lot of people are expecting as well is The Witcher 4, or perhaps something to do with The Witcher. I mean, I would love that, personally. But still, you know, everything that they got going on, they need to keep updating Cyberpunk 2077 to fix it up as much as possible. They need to also create at least 2 expansions for Cyberpunk, you know, and also at the moment they're making the next gen updates for Cyberpunk and also The Witcher 3. You know, do they even have the time? But again, if they're only in exploratory work, it's possible that they're only brainstorming it a little bit. So you don't necessarily need a whole lot of developers and, you know, people or personnel to actually make up that kind of decision. Again, perhaps maybe they got something planned in the future, and I'm sure they would, but, you know, it's going to be very, very, very long time. So yeah, hold on, you're gonna grow your beards, you're gonna be getting much older as well. Oh my god, isn't that just so depressing, right? Waiting for a game for so long, it's been decades, I'm growing old, I feel like I'm about to die tomorrow, but yet I'm still waiting. There's also been a discussion regarding of a multiplayer as well. Now, CD Projekt Red mentioned that they are not going to be specifying which of the 2 games that they're going to be implementing a multiplayer, for example, like The Witcher or maybe Cyberpunk. Again, we do not know, but they said that they'll be doing it gradually, you know, like step-by-step process. Again, that will be very beneficial towards them, but again, you know, we don't know what to expect out of it. Either way, I feel like that's all I've got out of the, out of this discussion anyway. I wanted to touch on everything what I wanted to touch on anyway, but at this point, I don't think I've got anything else to say. Alright guys, I will let you go now. Tell me down in the comments as well, what do you think about this news? You know, you have a little bit of hope towards Cyberpunk? Do you have any hope? What about CD Projekt Red? Did you lose their fate? Did you lose the fate or not? That would be actually quite interesting for me to read. Like and subscribe. See you guys all. Have a wonderful day.